What is going on, guys? Simple World from Simple Questions here, back with another tier list video for y'all today. As for today's video, I'm officially going to close the door in 2024, as I'm going to rank every 2024 release that I have watched. Because recently I did put on my best films 2015, and again, I did recently put on my best films 2024 list. If you guys want to check that out. And again, for those, and I did do lists on my most disappointing and my most surprising and my overall worst, which is on my TikTok. You guys want to check that out. But over the last 2 weeks, I basically watched all the movies I think I had a chance to see before doing that list. And I tried to watch a lot of other movies that I also figured, why not give it a watch? So, as of right now, I have watched 161 movies that came out in 2024. And I always had to watch a lot of movies that come out every year. Yes, I watched that many movies. And it's also going to be like a different style tier list, because obviously, the guy would actually put up a tier list and put it on there, but for some reason I always have trouble doing that on the computer, honestly, so it's going to be a little bit different. We'll basically I'm going to go for different tiers, and then, so which movies I would put on that tier, like, A++, A minus, B plus, B minus, C plus, C minus, D plus, D minus, F, and F minus. And basically, I'm just going through every different tier and talk about which movies I would talk about them. Because there might be some movies I might have more to say than others. But yeah, I'm talking about 101 movies here, so yeah. I think that's fair. I might have much to say about some of the others, but I'll basically just going through all the tiers and talk about which movies I would put on that tier. And at the very end of the video, talk about what would be my overall ranking on all 161 movies. I think I have seen a few that I did not get a chance to see before doing my list. So you'll see, obviously, the list ends up actually changing, honestly. Sometimes that happens, so hey, we're all human, so. But I still hope you all enjoyed this list anyway. Be sure to hit the like subscribe button. Let me know your thoughts on all the movies I'm talking about down below. Let me know your best and worst, disappointing, surprising, underrated, and worst of the year so far. Again, got 100 to talk about, so let's get straight to it. And we're going to kick off with the F minus tier. This is big self-explanatory, but it's basically a film that I think I'll just go beyond being disaster. A film that I think are some of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. Like, that's basically what F minus is. And basically, films I think are 0 to like a -1 that go through like a 0 to 100 rating scale. I think I should do a video explain my rating system. I think I did a while back, but I should probably do an update video on that. But these are the films I think are just the absolute worst I've ever seen in my life. And of course, the worst film is the only one on this list. I do have one movie that made this tier. And for those who have seen the movie, probably shouldn't be surprised that it being the worst movie I saw last year. And that is Megamind versus the Dune Syndicate. Yeah, again, like, I mean, I see they were kind of trying to make my brain, honestly. Like, I'm pretty sure we all expect, like, some situation to make mine at some point down the road, but yeah, I think they went about the worst possible way, because this film is a disaster amongst all fronts. Terrible, unfunny, terribly animated, uninteresting, pretty much like ruined a lot of aspects of the original Megamind. Honestly, making Megamind just a likable asshole. The jokes are so painfully unfunny, it's ridiculous. The storytelling is just, wait, there's a story here? And yeah, it's just not a fun movie to watch. I was like, what the hell am I watching here? So yeah, overall, nah, man, this movie is one of the worst anime movies I've seen in recent memory. Also, the show itself will also be my contender for worst show I saw last year as well. But yeah, this movie in general is just, what were they thinking? Thankfully, DreamWorks didn't have much involvement in this at all, and it's definitely, in my opinion, the worst film I saw by a landslide in 2024. I mean, it's the only one in this tier, obviously, but yeah. This definitely goes as one of the worst animated movies to come out in recent memory. And now we get to the general F tier films I think are terrible, but I don't think go for are not honestly abominations, but there's still films that I would say I would never recommend. There are 5 movies in this tier actually. And you're probably not assuming because I'm pretty sure most people know how bad these movies are. And I'll never talk about the bad movies, so yeah. But yeah, the first one is Save a Bikini Bomb, the Sandy Cheeks movie, which is a pretty terrible animated movie and probably the worst thing to come out of SpongeBob ever, honestly. Yeah, I didn't like it to begin with, but it was kind of worse the more I thought about it. I found that this ended up being, Spider Man's gotten a lot worse is pretty unfortunate. But yeah, it's unfunny, it's like the worst elements of any among SpongeBob because of the humor, the characters. As the story doesn't make any sense, and has probably one of the worst villains in recent memory. And speaking of villains, we get to the two Sony Spider-Man less movies that are pretty abysmal. They've got unintentional at times, but still abysmal, which is Madam Web and Kraven the Hunter, which, of course, you already need to talk about these movies. And you got two movies that you probably never even heard of, honestly. The first one being Don't Tell Moms the Babysitter's Dead, which is actually a Race Swap remake of the original movie that came out in the 90s, which I've not seen in a while, but I remember really enjoying. And yeah, this kind of what you expect from a Race Swap movie. And then we have Beautiful Wedding, which is a sequel to a movie that came out last year called Beautiful Disaster, starring Dylan Sprouse. But you should know when you got this movie came out. And while it's not like after or 50 Shades level of abysmal, it's still pretty abysmal. And honestly, we can get to the D-, D, and D+. Honestly, I'm gonna get these like over and done with because I don't really have much to say about much of these movies, honestly, and I ran out of topics movies anymore, honestly. So I'm gonna get straight to it with the D- tier, which has like 5 movies, on the list, which I would say goes to Terror, which is as bad as you expect from a horror movie called Terror. Dear Santa, you have to do a lot to make like a Jack Black unfunny and not likable. They did. Uglies, where it actually kind of beautiful movie trying to make it come out so ugly. And there's a reason why Ryan Annotations have pretty much gotten a bit done in the water since the 2010s. Night Swim, the first movie I saw this year, and not a good first impression. Probably in such a way saw it earlier short actually. And Atlas, where Jennifer Lopez trying to make friends with AI. Yeah, not good sign and not good movie. You have to do something to make action like boring. And then we get to the D tier, which basically also has 5 movies. And I'll say, and the first one is The Strangers Chapter 1, which actually ends up being kind of a soft remake of the original, which I actually have not seen, which I actually did really enjoy, despite the characters making stupid decisions, and pretty nice movie I could say is a guilty pleasure. But this is by landslide the worst one of the bunch. I mean, it's pretty nice, probably definitely worst, but in terms of just pure quality and enjoyment, it's definitely the worst. And it's saying that the talent involved, the director, Riley Holland, like, it's pretty disappointing. And then you got 2 other Netflix bad movies, The Family Affair, which has some of the most unlikable characters I've seen in the entire year, and Danceable, and despite many of our best efforts, it's just what you expect from a bad Netflix movie. Then we have Imaginary, a film that ironically lacks imagination. And then we have Borderlands, which, while I don't think is like a total disaster, I said there can be a sprinkles of fun here and there. And that thing is solid for the most part, honestly. Irene Greenblatt does a great job Tiny Tina. But overall, the film is just, it's basically like Guardians of the Galaxy ripoff. I was going to say that, but that's basically what it is, like Guardians of the Galaxy ripoff. And then we get to D+ tier, which has 6 movies here. And not much to talk about much of these movies, that's why I'm just flying through them, so. But yeah, we have Megalopolis, Francis Ford Coppola's like huge passion project where he apparently sold his own winery to actually make. And while I can see the ambition here, and you do get some solid performances, yeah, it just doesn't work out, come together pretty well. The dialogue, oh my god, the dialogue. Then we got Unfrosted, which it's definitely disappointing considering, you know, it's Jerry Seinfeld, and I love Jerry Seinfeld as much as anyone else, and this is definitely one of his worst efforts. And then we have Back to Black. Can't have a year without having one disappointing biopic, and this one based on Amy Winehouse. And despite the actress's best efforts, yeah, it's kind of as bad as you expect from as the worst aspects of any biopic, which is pretty unfortunate. Then we have The Killer, which is barely actually a remake of a John Woo movie, which I actually have not seen yet. I probably should get around that this year. And it's just as bland and boring as people have been saying. Same with Hell and the Purple Crayon. It's definitely not as bad as I remember it being, but it's definitely not a good movie, despite its best efforts. And then we have Pool Man, which actually is apparently directed by Chris Pine. And Pool Man, which actually is directed by Chris Pine, actually, in his director debut. And it's one of the movies where it's like, I don't know what he was thinking here. It's not entirely abysmal, but yeah, considering it's what the review, it's definitely a disappointment, that's for sure. But yeah, we now get to the C minus tier, which is basically just the forgettable tier. To see that, I just think it was just not good, but also just not memorable in the slightest. And they're E movies, so I'm just gonna blow through some of these movies. We have the 4:30 movie, which was directed by Kevin Smith. Definitely one of his worst efforts, unfortunately. The Killer's Game, unfortunately, that's forgettable action movie as you can get. Delma the Unicorn, a forgettable Netflix animated movie. My Spy, The Eternal City. I enjoyed the first one, but this definitely was let down. YK2, good concept, good first act, kind of what's went along. Nutcrackers, a pretty forgettable Christmas movie starring Ben Stiller. Rebel Moon Part 2. Man, this franchise in general is just a massive dud, and Netflix and Zack Snyder really end up bringing in the hype of this series. And we have The Crow. Yeah, a lot of people usually have The Crow like that's one of the worst of the year, and I never thought it was being like that bad, honestly. Like it's not good, obviously. It's in the C minus tier, but I mean, there's some solid action here and there. Yeah, there's some action here and there, and the performances are solid, so that elevates enough. But yeah, I can still admit it's not a good movie. And now we get to the C tier, which is basically just the mediocre tier. And we have 10 movies that made this tier. Yeah, 19 I'm just going to flow by some of these movies. We have The Deliverance, a pretty mediocre Netflix horror movie. A Tiger's Apprentice, another mediocre animated movie that came out this year. The Garfield movie, it was just as mediocre as I expected, honestly. I'm pretty sure nobody says me actually that good, honestly. Well, it's not abysmal, honestly. There definitely could be some charming moments here and there, but again, you can tell they was trying to make stuff up and kill it. Yeah, Garfield should be making it to a movie, and this should be the flat sides. You know, they made the two live action ones that proved that already, but yeah. Then we get to a lot of animated movies that actually end up making this year. Actually, I just realized. Like I mentioned, The Tiger's Apprentice, and then we have Spellbound, another mediocre Netflix movie. That Christmas, like, I definitely have potential, but just if it was like more pieced together, it probably would have been actually pretty solid. Then we have the two last movies that came out, the Casa Grande's movie, one that's kind of got a bit worse the more I think about it, and then No Time to and I'm not sure if I should really count this one, but I'm still counting it right now. It's No Time to Spy, a Lighthouse movie. So it's a movie I'm counting here. Okay, this franchise really has gone down shit, honestly. It's not the worst that the Lighthouse has done, but this alone proves that, yeah, not only the random ideas, but they kind of forgot what makes the Lighthouse good in the first place. Well, I think, to be honest, I think this shows how even worse downfall in SpongeBob, honestly, because I don't think that has really gotten better from what I've been told. So, yeah. And then we get to a film I think I actually would not take place of one movie as the most disappointing movie I saw last year, and that's Lord of the Rings: The War of the Rohirrim. Again, beautiful animation, great voice acting, has some pretty solid action. It's movie that actually had a good story, but a mediocre finish. Which again is pretty disappointing considering it was a Lord of the Rings movie, but it doesn't have that great excitement and adventure that you would expect from this type of movie. And speaking of disappointment, the last movie is here. Another disappointment around Smith. Man, this 2016, this guy really has gone downhill. And while it's definitely not his worst movie, I say Welcome to Marlin still his worst. It's definitely a movie that's just continues to prove that, man, the guy that made Back to the Future and Forrest Gump really has gone downhill. And now we're turning on with the C plus tier, which has 7 movies on this list. It's basically just a mixed bag tier. Films that have some positives and some negatives that kind of even out. And the first one we get to move that actually was my most disappointing movie originally, and that is Joker Folie à Deux. This movie was going to be a musical, and we actually were getting a Joker sequel, but it could actually be interesting. It could have been like an actually interesting tale, but I mean, it definitely has some good musical numbers and gets some good performances, and there are some good moments. At the same time, it has some pretty abysmal moments. Really takes away a lot of great elements of the original Joker, and easily has one of the worst endings of the year. And then we have Moana 2, which is also another massive disappointment. A film that basically felt like it was just a few episodes of a scrap TV show put together into one film, which makes it hilarious to say that because that actually is, and the reason I say it because it actually is true. There actually was supposed to be a Moana TV show. There actually was supposed to be a Moana TV show, but it ended up getting dropped for whatever reason. Like, I don't remember the reason, honestly. I mean, not that what the reason was. But, yeah. It basically just like a less exciting version of the original, which is a film I do love. And then we have Hellboy the Crooked Man. Yeah, did you remember that Hellboy movie that came out this year? That's it. And then we have Despicable Me 4, which, it's not the worst Illumination movie or the worst Despicable Me movie, but again, it's proves that its franchise really has run its course. Then we have The Dunman's Returns, a fine movie to an overall fine Nickelodeon show. Apparently, we're going to get a continuation after this year, apparently, so we'll see how that goes. Then we have Bar Marley One Love, another disappointing biopic, not going to say more. And then we get to one of the biggest mixed bags I've seen in a while, and that is Mufasa the Lion King. Yeah, the pure definition of a mixed bag. The purest definition of a mixed bag movie. Where it has some actually really great elements to it and some pretty exciting moments. At the same time, it's a film that they go way too fast and kind of messes with the mythology of the original movie, which is the worst thing that prequel actually can do, honestly. Mostly how they treat Scar in the movie and want to let him to basically be the maniacal villain he ends up being in the original. And like, also they're them trying to go back and forth with Timon and Pumbaa, everything in that way they decided to tell the story is like, they could have done it a different way. And also, it has probably some most forgettable music out any Disney movie I've seen in a while. So while there are some good moments here that do elevate it to be a new tier, it has some moments that will really bring it down to it, and it moves that to being, again, a mixed bag. And now we get to the B- tier, and this is probably when the films actually get positive from here on out. And these are films I think are just decent to forgettable. Yeah, I always get the B- tiers to be films I think are just kind of forgettable. So many movies I might not have much to actually say about, but let's get through these 11 movies. Where we have In a Violent Nature, which apparently the director let everyone know during a festival that like, yeah, it'll put you to sleep. And I can never see why, honestly. Like, I do appreciate the ambition here. And I'll agree that it does have one of the best kills and moments of the year with that yoga kill. Like, that is brutal. But yeah, it's a movie that just drags. Then we have Spaceman, definitely one of the better Adam Sandler movies to come out, but definitely not a good one either. Lift, probably one of the most forgettable movies of the year I've seen in a while. Venom: The Last Dance. It's pretty disappointing for me to end up being on this tier because I actually do kind of somewhat enjoy the Venom movies. Again, it's definitely a debate between this and Let's Be Kind. It's still weakest of the three movies, but because there's some good enjoyment in this one, but yeah, kind of end of it went honestly by the great action. Kinds of Kindness. I don't know what it is, but Yoga Lanthimos is directed just now for me. I don't know what it is. Driver Dolls, pretty disappointing movie that came out. Especially if it be done by Ethan Coen. Horizon, a American Saga Chapter 1, definitely a great idea and interesting ambition from Kevin Costner, but yeah, I consider the Assassin Boss if kind of felt flawed the father Salvus. I don't think we're going to have time anytime soon. The Book of Clarence, definitely one that had a pretty good moments, but just one that just isn't memorable in the long run. Same with The Front Room, same with The Order. I don't really have much to say about both those movies, honestly. They had the good moments and good performances, but in the end, just feel that I just don't have much to say. And Apartment 7A, which ends up being one of the more surprising movies, as it's a pretty decent prequel to Roma Baby. It just, so you know what happens, it doesn't really have the intensity of that movie. And now we get to the B tier, which of course films I think are just flat out solid. And there are also 11 movies in this tier, actually. There's still a lot of movies to talk about here, so bear with me. But there are 11 movies against the movies I end up watching for this tier. Well, on those 11, well, first up we have Baby Girl and Night Bitch. Movies that I don't think were like made for my demographic, but I feel I think are actually pretty solid and have pretty good performances. The Mean Girls musical, which I seem to enjoy a bit more than most people. It's not great, and I would easily prefer the original Mean Girls, but being a musical version, I actually didn't mind it. Then we have Timeka, which is basically a kind of a lesser version of the film Totally Killed that came out last year, but it's a pretty solid version of that. Then we have the Ministry of Ungodly Warfare, which is actually a pretty solid Guy Ritchie movie. I don't think it goes as far as you would expect to go with the action and the crazy zaniness, but yeah, it's good Guy Ritchie at least has gained some good, at least some solid movies out this recently. He's actually been on the rise actually, so I should not look forward to Guy Ritchie what he does next. The Bike Riders, which while it wasn't as like amazing and like mind blowing and engaging as I expected, as I was hoping it would be, the performances and occasional good moments do save it. David Argyle, which is me I actually enjoy a lot more than most people actually. Again, it is definitely way too long and has too many plot twists, and it's just there's a reason why it definitely bombed as much hard as it did, but yeah, I can honestly say I had fun with it. And honestly, same with Red 1. Because I actually didn't hate Red 1, actually. I'm not sure whether that's going to be a popular opinion or not, but yeah, I enjoyed it. It definitely has its issues, it's still in the solid tier, but what can I say? I had fun with it. Then we have Trap, the latest M. Night Shyamalan movie, which is a movie that definitely had great moments and definitely had a lot of potential to actually be great, actually. Like, there were some generally great moments here. But again, even I can add the logic in the movie sometimes just, it's so frustrating. Especially with that third act and certain moments, I'm like, really? Yeah, overall, solid M. Night movie. Then we have Werewolves, which is basically The Purge, but werewolves, and actually a good solid Purge movie, so. And then we have Justice League, Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 2. In terms of one, which was pretty good and solid, I'll say because of how like scattered it can be, Part 2 is probably the weakest of the trilogy, but overall, pretty solid stuff. And now we get to the B plus tier, which are big films that go good that may have some issues that do kind of hold it back from B films I absolutely love. But films I can say I can, if I would rewatch them, I honestly wouldn't mind. Yeah, some films I might have more to say than others, but you know, we're talking about so many movies that just it happens, like I mentioned earlier. As first we have House of Spoils, which both YouTube describe as basically The Bear, but with witches. And I enjoyed it a little more than I expected. Like, I don't think it hits like the highs of that show. I don't think it like hits like the scares that it goes for. I don't even call it a horror movie, honestly. You know, it's a horror movie, but oh, I enjoyed it more than I expected. And then we have I Saw the TV Glow, which is a film that it's definitely a movie I think I appreciate more than I actually enjoyed it. I think it's one of those films that's a bit too slow, and a film that just gets the message gets a bit too in your face sometimes. But it's a film I do admire what it's trying to go for, and I do love what it goes for. I think the aesthetic is fantastic, and the performances are great. And then we have Arcadian, which is a Nick Cage movie. And Nick Cage is one of the actors that any film with him I know I'm gonna love, and I know I'm always gonna enjoy it. I definitely enjoyed Arcadian. It's not one of those like post-part-time movies, and I'd say it actually works pretty well actually. It's definitely very like Quiet Place-esque, but still a pretty good movie, and I don't think it hits like the highs, and I don't think it ends the best, but overall it's a film I definitely enjoyed. And then we have Ghostbusters, and then we have the final part of the Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths, which I feel like definitely is a lot better part 2, and this being the last time we see Kevin Conroy play Batman, just wow. And then we have My Hero Academia Year Next. I think it's actually the last movie I saw before making this list. I actually have watched My Hero Academia actually. I think I watched it a few years ago actually. And honestly, the show I do love, honestly. That's right now probably in the big with Demon Slayer is my favorite anime I've seen so far. And why I wanted to reach the highs of that show, it versus what makes that show so great in the first place, at least to me. And then we have one of the most disappointing films of the year, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I still enjoy it, thankfully. It's not like a disaster, honestly. Thank God on that. It's definitely still a really good Ghostbusters movie. It's just a definition of film that feels like they're cramming like two films of story into one movie. Because there are a lot, because overstuffed and not much time is developed to the stories you actually do want to focus on. And it's a film that just feels like it has too much going on. And it loses a lot of that steam a little bit. But it's a film I still do enjoy, thankfully. And now we have some horror movies actually that I enjoyed, like Sting, Azrael, Sam Lot, and Stream, which are films that are just very simple, but films I actually enjoyed more than I expected. And a few of them are more just simple, fun movies. Like Stream is basically a movie that, well, it has like too much cameos in your face, but it's a film that I definitely had a lot of fun with. Sting is a very simple, fun movie that embraces what it goes for. Azrael, I could use a little bit more lore in that movie, but I still enjoy what I went for. Sam's Last movie I enjoyed a lot more than I expected actually. It's definitely a film where you feel like there's so much more in there. I feel like something's happened cut, but overall, I enjoyed it. Then we have Monkey Man, Dev Patel's virtual debut. Honestly, while not the most engaging story or characters in the world, the action and the aesthetic really makes up for it. And it does make me excited for what Dev Patel does have directed next. And now we have Beverly Hills Cop Axel F, which is a film that could have easily been a disaster, honestly, considering how long it's been in production. And it was going to be an exclusive, but it ended up being a lot better than I expected, actually. The daughter character does kind of bring it down a bit, but it definitely brings a lot of the fun, the zaniness of the previous films, and that's all you can ask for. It's simple fun, but I think that's what I was trying to go for, and it delivers. And I would say the same thing with Kung Fu Panda 4, which is by far the weakest of the 4 movies so far. I'm not denying that. But yeah, I still enjoyed it, honestly. Like, it does have issues, obviously. Like, it does have the weakest villain in the entire franchise. And I think the humor is less effective here. But it still has a lot of the fun, joy, and charm of the previous movies. And then we have Fly Me to the Moon, a very simple rom-com that delivers on the cuteness and the sweetness of what you expect from rom-com. The Fall Guy, which is a film I kind of wish I loved, honestly. I feel like a film I probably should have loved and adored, but I didn't. Like, maybe I rewatched it more needed on this one, but overall, I definitely enjoyed it. And we get to the last film on this tier, and one of the films I watched, and that is A Complete Unknown, which is the Bob Dylan biopic. A film that, honestly, is pretty much elevated by the performances. Like, Timothée Chalamet and everyone else in this cast is exceptional. Like, I really would not be surprised if a lot of these performances get nominated for Oscars, which I think they are actually pretty deserving, actually. And I won't say I was disappointed by it, honestly. Like, it's definitely one of the better biopics to have come out. I guess I just want a little more oomph in this movie, honestly, and while I can definitely see what I was trying to go for, yeah, I still want a little more insight. But overall, it's a film I definitely do enjoy, honestly. I think it's, again, mostly thanks to the directing and the excellent performances by the cast. Man, a lot of it's not bad, but now we get to the A- tier, which are films I think do have, again, some flaws different from truly loving the movies. Both films I'd say I still really thought were just generally great. This is like the great tier. And there are 26 movies in this tier. Yeah, that happens when you watch a lot of movies every year, so yeah, there are 26 movies again. So these might, like I said, some of these might get to more than others, because some I think you should check out without knowing much about them, or some I just don't have much to say, and that's okay. And you get 26 movies, but we have Wolves, which is an Apple TV Plus movie starring George Clooney and Brad Pitt. It's very simple fun, but I enjoyed it. And as with us, a very interesting movie that I don't think to be everybody, but one I surprisingly enjoyed more than I expected, actually. Mostly because it won't be from the characters or the story. I actually truly enjoyed it. Off to the King, a very underrated dog movie starring Mark Wahlberg. Conclave, a very interesting, compelling movie that I was more compelled than I expected to be. Juror number 2, before the last movie directed by Clint Eastwood, which makes me realize I should probably rewatch all his movies. I should probably do a marathon of rewatching all of his movies. Since it has been a while since I've seen some of his movies, actually, but that's a sort of another day. This movie I wish had a little more intensity to it, but I still enjoyed it. And then we have both Watchmen Chapter 1 and 2, which are animated films that came out this year. I would say I probably enjoyed Chapter 2 just a tad bit more, but both are actually pretty good chapters that embrace the Watchmen lore and characters pretty well. And then we have Tuesday and Promenista, which are two A24 movies I watched, and films that I would say I recommend checking out. They are pretty interesting and engaging movies. Like, definitely some of the better A24 movies to come out this year. Then we have part 1 of Justice League Crisis on Earth, which I think is by far the best of this trilogy. I'd say overall, pretty solid trilogy, actually, that honestly could have been so much worse, in my opinion. And then we have Speak No Evil, which was actually quite surprised, actually. I mean, as I'm filming this, I still have not watched the original German movie, and Honestly, I probably should actually. But it's a film that, while it's definitely less condensed, it actually reminds you a lot more fun than expected. And that's really because of the interesting directions it goes for, and also the performances, especially from Mackenzie Davis and James McAvoy. Then we have Immaculate, a film that it's very generic in the first two acts, but the third act really goes insane. And Sydney Sweeney proves that she can really act. Like she, of course, always proved that in Euphoria, but she really demonstrates that here. Why did she have me Matt Webb? And then we had The Last Stop in Yuma County. Actually, a pretty solid movie that really delivers on the fun and what it tries to go for. Love Lies Bleeding, another one of those movies where once the fact that it didn't have the best ending, it probably would have made so much higher on this list. And films you want to put so much higher, but the ending just. And now we have the Roadhouse remake with Jake Gyllenhaal, which was a film I actually enjoyed a lot more than I expected. Actually, I probably still prefer the original, but I definitely enjoyed a different take on this one. Actually, again, didn't expect to enjoy much as I did, but hey, actually it pretty works. And I'm actually curious what they're going to do with a sequel, because apparently they're making a sequel, if I remember correctly. And then we have Never Let Go, a film that definitely is one of the more divisive movies of the year, but it's one I actually enjoyed the ambiguity of it. Then we have Land of Bad, a pretty underrated action movie that I definitely should check out. Cuckoo, a film that actually has some of the most unique scares of the year. I don't think it hits like the highs of the horror movies, but it still delivers on what it ends up going for. It's very cuckoo indeed. Cuckoo! And now we have Gladiator 2, which was the sequel to Gladiator, which, again, it's weird that they decided to go with this direction for a longer-awaited sequel to Gladiator, which is, of course, one of the best movies and one of the best movies ever made. I mean, of course, in the movie say that. I think it was actually the film that actually was the last cut from my top 100 favorite films of all time, actually. So Gladiator is still incredible, and Gladiator 2 is, it's all opposites reached the highs of the original, but it delivers a lot of them, just pure dumb fun, and if you go into that, you might have a good time with it. And then we have If, which is a film I enjoyed a lot more than I expected, actually. Yeah, I feel like this is definitely one of those. And it's different on some movies I feel are going to grow on me more the more I think about them. And I feel If is going to be one of those movies. I also have the same thing with Carry On, which was a pretty fun Christmas Die Hard ripoff movie. It's interesting to prove that he actually is a really good actor. Ultraman Rising, which is a. Yeah, I've never heard anything about Ultraman until I saw this, and for introduction, I'd say it was pretty well actually. Then we have The Beekeeper. The Beekeeper! The Beekeeper! The Beekeeper. Which, of course, is the latest Jason action movie, which is definitely one of the better ones to come out. Again, it just knows what it is and just embraces it. And then we have Beetlejuice. Which, again, pretty much has a lot of the same issues I mentioned with Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, to where it basically is very overstuffed. You like the two films word put into one. Two films of story put into one movie, which is very overstuffed, and some storylines that could be interesting end up being not as effective as they should have been, but it still embraces that great Beetlejuice energy to it. And obviously, as I'm making this list, I'm listed 33 on this list. Then we have VHS Beyond, which is, I watched all these movies for the first time earlier this year, and this is definitely one of the best ones, actually. And now, coming on up, we get to one of the last movies I saw, and that is Better Man. A movie based on UK singer Robert Williams, who's by the way singer I never heard of actually until I saw this movie. And it kind of plays what you expect from a singer biopic. The only difference is that he's played by a CGI ape. Yeah. I would say I just watch it for yourself, guys. And now we're gonna get to the A tier, which are films that basically have like one or two issues that do prevent it from being like top tier movies, but are films I was gonna say are great and I do recommend. And there are 29 movies in this tier, by the way, guys. I mean, that's why I'm going to see a lot of movies. At least I think there are 29, but they're at least close to that, at least. Like, there are a lot of movies to talk about here, guys. So I might just get through some one of those, like Queer, which is the latest film from Luca Guadagnino. I'll also put Challenges on here as well. But actually pretty good movies, and probably some of the better, like, films on this director, honestly. Like, Home by is a film I actually don't enjoy, actually, which, that might be a hard take. But I do enjoy a lot of that movie. He's still a director that's very interesting and in terms of style and his directing and how he sets up scenes. And I don't ever see myself come back to these movies, but they're films that have not good qualities to where they're going to be on here. Same with Janie Planet, which was another A24 movie I recommend watching without knowing much about it. Then we have A Late Night with the Devil, a film that definitely has an interesting premise. I think it delivers on that unique premise, but the thrills and the scares and what it's emulating what it's trying to go for. The Idea of You, one of the better rom-coms to come out in recent memory. Lisa Frankenstein, a really solid, great directorial debut from Robert Williams' daughter Zelda Williams. Definitely embraces that Tim Burton Edward Scissorhands era, but it does it in a pretty effective way, and it works thanks to the performances and the chemistry by the two main leads. And of course, Pratt's definitely a very to demonstrate his incredible acting abilities. Then we have Boy Kills World, but it's a cartoon kind of come to life, but in the best possible ways. A Quiet Place Day One. Quiet. A Quiet Place Day One. Definitely the weakest of the Quiet Place movies so far, but the fact that it's still great and still amazing, definitely just show how great this universe is. I wish I got a little more information on certain aspects of the Quiet Place universe, but overall, I say it does a great job pretty well. I think the story in terms of what they're trying to go for here really elevates it easily. Then we have Civil War, which and it did not have another film along with the film Your Monster, and it did not have the best ending. But it's a film that Civil War's a movie I actually really enjoyed, a lot more than I expected actually. I especially like how it's a film that's very like political, but not like in your face political. It doesn't make you like choose like one side, which I like. Thank you. And then Your Monster, which actually was a very interesting, heartfelt, charming movie that, if it ended a bit better, it actually would be like a lot higher on this ranking. But I'll say it's Civil War, which I'm sure Civil War's probably not gonna be like way too high, honestly. But they're both still great movies. Same with Strange Darling, a film I would say I recommend not knowing much about it, check it out because it's pretty engaging. Then we have Ori in the Dark, one of the more underappreciated movies going this year, and probably one of the DreamWorks in general most underappreciated movies. It's definitely one that better movies come out. Yeah, I just feel like the message is what it goes for, and the aspect in the world. It definitely gets a bit on the third act, but I actually have a great time with it. I can definitely see myself coming back to appreciate so much more on rewatch. I'll say the same thing with A Different Man, which is an interesting movie where Sebastian continues to prove his incredible acting abilities. Then we have The Best Christmas Pageant Ever, not one of the last watches for this list. And it's an incredibly surprising, heartfelt charming Christmas movie. I mean, one I can see myself growing on me actually a bit actually. I had no idea about this movie, so I thought I was going to watch, see what a movie I want to watch before doing this ranking, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. Definitely one of the most heartfelt Christmas movies to check out. And then we have A Real Pain, which is the directorial debut from Jesse Eisenberg. I think it's directed debut, I'm not sure, but it is directed by Jesse Eisenberg, and man, what a really interesting movie it delivers. Most days is a great chemistry between the two leads, and it's a lot more emotional than you would expect, actually. And then we have Saturday Night, which is definitely one of the more hilarious movies come out this year. Not as hilarious as I expected it would be, but it's a film that's just a lot of great fun and charm, and the cast really delivers. Then we have Heretic, which a film that, again, another movie where I think ended a lot better in the third act. I would probably put it much higher on this list because it's a very creepy movie with Hugh Grant delivering one of the best performances of the year. And then we have Smile 2, which I think what I liked more than the original Smile, honestly, but and the film basically just more the same as the original, but I still enjoyed it. Wish I got to know more about the actual Smile Demon, but overall, I enjoyed it. And now we have Big City Greens, the movie Spacecation, which is I think a musical movie that came out earlier this year based on the animated show, Disney show Big City Greens, which you guys know which it's a show that I did love on. So you guys know it's one of my favorite Disney shows. That I should remember checking it out. Yeah, Disney Channel always delivers comes to animation, and this is no exception. Then we have A Woman of the Hour, the directorial debut by Anna Kendrick, and what a great debut it was. I would say check it out on Netflix. It definitely is worth watching. And then we have the Christopher Reeve documentary that came out later this year. That was surprisingly heartfelt and emotional. I'm someone that's been like the biggest like on the Christopher Reeve Superman era, most because I never grew up with it or never grew up watching those movies much. But I say in terms of what he tried to deliver in terms of a documentary should do, I think that's a good job, honestly. Then we have Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, which is just sort of like just pure, adulterated fun, chaotic energy. That if you just love dumb fun, I would check this out. Then we have We Live in Time, which it's really infrastructure a bit better, probably much higher on this list, but it's always is high on the most because of the incredible chemistry between Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh, and having one of the most heartbreaking endings of the year. Definitely one of the few moments where I literally cried in this year. Like, I literally was tearing up. And then we have My Old Ass, one of the more underappreciated movies to come out this year. That, well, at first I'm not seeing like a revolutionary movie. It ends up exploring a direction that you would not expect that makes you really rethink about life and everything, and it does it in an incredible way. Again, it's another one of these movies I can see myself coming much more higher the more I think about it, but as right now, I say to where it is probably fine. And I'll say the same thing with Twisters, which is surprisingly I actually enjoyed a lot more than the actual original Twister, which is something I already enjoyed. But I'm really disappointed in the original, actually, which I was not expecting to do, but hey, they delivered. It's one of the films that it knows what it's delivering, and it delivers. And then we have Maxine, which is the culmination of the X trilogy. So, while this probably is my least favorite of the X trilogy, and while the mystery was a bit underwhelming, I'd say it delivers what it tries to go for very effectively. Then we have The First Omen, which is one of the more surprising movies to come out last year. Like, I'm pretty sure nobody expected this movie to be good, because it's a prequel to The Omen, which is also a movie that shouldn't have been a franchise, now that I've actually watched all the movies for the first time. And it's actually the best movie since the original. And it's actually creepy. And scary. And again, another movie that wasn't back then trying to tease more movies. In the end, it would be much higher on this list. And then we have Bad Boys Ride or Die, which is another great entry in the Bad Boys series. Still with the same pure, crazy energy. Like, maybe that's a bit too fun into the humor in some areas, but no, it delivers all the pure fun that you expect from Bad Boys movie. And the last movie on this here, we have Rebel Ridge, which is an unappreciated next movie that I heard so much about, and good reason. Definitely check this out. And now we're getting to the last two tiers on this list, and now we get to the general A+ tier, which of course movies I think are just exceptional. They have one or two issues still, but our films are so good in the qualities that I end up still loving them despite that. And there are 18 movies in this tier. And I don't have really seen a lot of great movies this year. This year, so some I managed to get to some movies that I already talked about in my best films of 2024 video. But there are a few movies I did actually end up watching. There actually ended up being like one change in this tier. Now I've seen certain movies, so let's get to it. Well, we have The Brutalist, which, yeah, I would say I watch it for yourself. Like, I didn't know much of it going in, but it delivered what it tried to go for very effectively. Same with Hundreds of Beavers, one of the funniest movies of the year. Like, if you love like 1920s and 30s slapstick, like, that movie's for you. Then we have Memoir of a Snail, which I heard actually a few people on TikTok actually recommend this movie to me, and yeah, it's definitely not what I can see myself really climbing up, but because it's a pretty interesting and engaging movie. Then we have Piece by Piece, which is the Lego biopic on Pharrell Williams. And now Lone Purse is high up on this list. Then we have Abigail, one of the more pure fun vampire movies of the year I've seen in a long time. One of the most pure fun movies of the year in general. Then we have Sing Sing, definitely one of the more underappreciated movies to come this year. I think it was one, if I remember correctly, was one of the last cuts on the list, but it's definitely a movie that's incredibly engaging and effective for what it tries to go for. And I'd say it does it pretty well. And then we have Hitman, the latest film from Richard Linklater, and man, I mean, I wasn't expecting to enjoy much as I did, but man, it does it very well in the comedy and the humor and the characters and the storytelling. It's just a perfect package. Then we have Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which is another excellent entry in this franchise. Again, I'm not sure this trilogy is going to be as good as the previous trilogy because I don't think anything well, honestly. But honestly, for what it goes for, actually delivers very well. Well, the storytelling and the characters, and honestly, I cannot wait for the sequel. Actually, then we have Furiosa in Mad Max Saga. That's doing well. Yeah, this is a bit too much CGI, and it might have gone a bit too late, which is probably why it bombed. But but if you like Fury Road, you'll love this one. And Chris Hemsworth is one of the best film performances of the year. Then we have Alien Romulus. Alien Romulus. One of the more big surprises of the year, as I was not expecting to enjoy this movie much as I did. And it's the best Alien movie since the original. Since the original too. Again, definitely a divisive movie, but and can like a bit too much nostalgia at times, I'm not gonna deny that, but overall, it delivers the effectiveness you want from an Alien movie. And now we're going to get to the two movies that I did not, unfortunately, end up watching. Mostly because I expected someone else to have some because life stuff, or I expected to watch some people, but it just didn't end up happening. But yeah, let's get to the two movies that I did not watching, and one of them did actually end up making my actual best list. Top 10, I will place this. I think actually, basically, the first one is Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which in my opinion is the best Sonic movie yet. So like, again, I played a lot of Sonic games last year. I'm now more familiar with Sonic more than ever before, and seeing Shadow here was just incredible. Keanu Reeves was a great performance. They did Shadow so incredibly well here. They don't focus so much on the human characters, don't have like a human side plots. I mentioned Carrie, and he plays a dual role here, and they play each other very well. Jim Carrey's always been the best part of all these movies. And the whole team between him, Sonic, and Knuckles and Tails is just fantastic to witness. Again, now playing a lot of Sonic games later this year, and I still plan on playing a few more this year. He really manages to deliver a lot of the pure fun and greatness from Sonic. Combining that with great action set pieces, great visual effects, and really solid humor throughout. So yeah, finally inside the best one of the franchise. Like, it's shocking this has been a very consistent franchise. And I actually cannot wait for Sonic 4. And there we have the film that would actually make my list, probably like number 10 or 9, or probably at least number 10, but it actually surprised me. And that is Nosferatu. Nosferatu. I'm sorry, I had to. But yeah, no seriousness, Nosferatu is fantastic. But in my opinion, Robert Eggers' best movie. These movies I've always like appreciated more than I actually liked. Not that he's a bad filmmaker. I just think his films really gravitate a lot towards me. Like I enjoyed The Witch and Lighthouse 41, but there's definitely movies that I would not come back to very often. No Bendo definitely was great, honestly. I think it's the one that actually ended up missing my best 2022 list, if I remember correctly. But Nosferatu, in my opinion, is his best movie, which is because it's kind of his most like generic and accessible movie, but it still managed to deliver the creep factor that it delivers. And a lot of you get some of the best visuals and cinematography and aesthetics of the year. Like, this movie is a visual masterpiece. And in terms of the scares and creep factor, it delivers on that front, delivering an incredible atmosphere. And combined that, Bill Skarsgård and Linda Rose deliver clear best performances here. So yeah, if I were to make any replacement for my actual original list, I would say I would put Nosferatu number 10. And I'm going to skip through the next like 6 movies because now I'm going to change and check out my best list. Transformers 1, most big surprise of the year. Serious Crimes Me More. Nora, huge surprise as well. The Substance, another huge surprise. And one of the most effective creep factor movies and one of the most effective body horror movies of the year. Terrifier 3, my personal favorite horror movie of the year. Wicked, an incredible musical. And Dune Part 2, another incredible sequel to an incredible movie. But now we get to the A++ tier, which is basically, films I think are just like A++. Films I think are just incredible and some of his all time. And I'm just gonna throw it away. We have Deadpool Wolverine, Inside Out 2, and my personal favorite of the year is still Wild Robot. What is going on, guys? Cinema World from Cinema Questions here, back with another tier list video for y'all today. And for today's video, I'm officially going to close the door on 2024, as I'm going to rank every 2024 release that I have watched. Because recently I did put on my best films 2015, and again, I did recently put on my best films 2024 list. You guys want to check that out. And again, for those, and I did do lists on my most disappointing and my my most surprising and my overall worst, which is on my TikTok. You guys want to check that out. But over the last 2 weeks, I basically watched all the movies I think I had a chance to see before doing that list. I tried to watch a lot of other movies that I also figured, why not give it a watch? So, as of right now, I have watched 161 movies that came out in 2024. And I always had to watch a lot of movies that came out every year. Yes, I watched that many movies. And it's also going to be like a different style tier list, because obviously, the guy would actually put up a tier list and put it on there, but for some reason I always have trouble doing that on the computer, honestly, so it's going to be a little bit different. We'll basically I'm going to go for different tiers, and then, so which movies I would put on that tier, like, A++, A+, A minus, B+, B, B minus, C+, C, C minus, D+, D minus, F, and F minus. And basically, I'm just going through every different tier and talk about which movies I would talk about them. Because there might be some movies I might have more to say than others. But yeah, I'm talking about 101 movies here, so yeah. I think that's fair. I might have much to say about some of the others, but I'm basically just going through all the tiers and talk about which movies I would put on that tier. And at the very end of the video, talk about what would be my overall ranking on all 161 movies. As again, I have seen a few that I do not have get a chance to see before doing my list. So you'll see, obviously, the list ends up actually changing, honestly. Sometimes that happens, so hey, we're all human, so. But I still hope you all enjoyed this list already. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. Let me know your thoughts on all the movies I'm talking about down below. Let me know your best and worst, disappointing, surprising, underrated, and worst of the year so far. Again, got 100 to talk about, so let's get straight to it.